Top 2 bands Chuck Berry disliked. Chuck Berry, the father of rock and roll. An absolute titan of the music industry, Chuck Berry's contribution to contemporary sound is indisputable. With a road to stardom equally decorated by success and controversy. From his songwriting and lyrics, to his guitar playing and stage antics, perhaps nobody else short of Elvis Presley was as influential on the young Beatles as Chuck Berry. In the 1960s and 1970s, Berry's music was the inspiration for such groups as the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. As John Lennon once put it, "When I hear rock, good rock, the caliber of Chuck Berry, I just fall apart and I have no other interest in life." The legendary songs of Chuck Berry changed the landscape of rock and roll, helping lay the foundation for other artists. Berry motivated musicians to think beyond the very basic song structures of early rock, pushing the genre to new heights with his songwriting. In the context of the 1960s music scene, such borrowing of musical ideas was common, as artists often built upon the foundations laid by their predecessors. While some may view this as a blatant rip-off, it's more accurate to see it as part of the creative process in rock music, where influences are blended and reinterpreted. Here are 2 bands Chuck Berry disliked the most. The Beatles. Chuck Berry's influence on the Beatles, then, can be seen from the many covers the band played, but also by emulating and imitating his lyrics and music and stage presence. Perhaps the most famed Chuck Berry fan was the Beatles. Throughout the Quarrymen existence, they played a total of at least 15 Chuck Berry songs in their live shows. John Lennon, who drew heavily from his blues-laden sound, had many kind words to say about Berry publicly. Chuck Berry was known for being highly protective of his work, and that led to a notable clash. One of the most infamous incidents occurred with Come Together, which borrowed heavily from Berry's 1956 track You Can't Catch Me. Berry's publisher sued John Lennon for copyright infringement, leading to an out-of-court settlement. Beach Boys. Brian Wilson, the band's leader and primary songwriter, was heavily inspired by Berry's music and the early rock and roll sound. The catchy, upbeat nature of Fun reflects the playful spirit of the era, and the riff serves as an homage rather than a direct copy. What was it, then, about Surfin' USA that made Chuck Berry draw the line? Surfin' USA wouldn't even be the first time the Boys borrowed from Berry. Such is the case with the Beach Boys' single Fun, and its striking similarity to Chuck Berry's tune. The Beach Boys' Surfin' USA and Chuck Berry's Sweet Little 16. Chuck Berry released his song Sweet Little 16 in 1958. In 1963, the Beach Boys released their single, and one of their best-known works, Surfin' USA, giving sole writing credit to Brian Wilson. For their song Surfin' USA, the Beach Boys said they paid tribute to Chuck Berry, but in reality just used the exact same music and chord progression with their own lyrics. No permission was asked of Chuck Berry to do so. As one can imagine. This led to Berry wanting compensation. Berry threatened to sue the Beach Boys for plagiarizing his music. Wilson's father Murray, who was the Beach Boys' manager at the time, decided to just give Berry royalties and the copyright to the song. The song's composition is now credited to both Brian Wilson and Chuck Berry. The truth about the Beach Boys' relationship to Chuck Berry, though, is that, despite the disagreement, they remain fans of the rock music innovator, continuing to cover his songs. While Chuck Berry admired the success of both bands, he had moments of frustration when their music borrowed heavily from his work, particularly with the Beach Boys. However, his influence on both bands and on rock music as a whole remains undeniable.